Wait!
Can I see the boiler, please?
Would you mind putting your bag on the table?
Ngoc Minh Quan is a retired Vietnam War Special Forces operator who now runs a Chinese restaurant in London. Performing his fatherly duties, he goes to pick his daughter, Fan, from school. She's hyped about the dance and her boyfriend, whom she plans to introduce to Quan when he comes to pick her for the dance. She urges Quan to drive fast so they can get her dress from a particular department store before it's sold out in her size. Truly, when they arrive, the place is packed full. Fan decides to go in first while Quan looks for where to park. Unfortunately, that's the last time he'll ever see his lovely daughter alive. Just as he gets a space to park, another car speeds up from nowhere, causing a crash. They both come down, ready to confront each other, but before Quan can say a word, a bomb explodes. Afterward, Ian Wood, a reporter from Metro Desk, gets a call from an unknown man who says,
"Listen carefully. An action wing of the authentic IRA has just exploded a bomb at the OBT Bank in Knightsbridge. The code word is Phoenix. Britain's banks are now targets for the authentic IRA. The bombings will continue as long as Britain's financial criminal institutions persist in their support of the illegal occupation of Northern Ireland."
Ian instantly rushes to report this to the manager, Simpson, and he gives everyone orders to find out who the authentic IRA are. He then instructs Ian to go cover the crime scene. It's a really sore and heartbreaking sight over there, and Quan is seen at the corner, crying bitterly while holding a lifeless Fan. Meanwhile, two men, McCormick and Pat Nugent, watch the news report when another, Patrick O'Reilly, arrives. There have been 12 confirmed bodies so far, with multiple injured. The remorseless guys are actually the bombers behind the attack. In Belfast, amid the chaos in London, the Deputy Minister, Liam Hennessy, cluelessly enjoys a private time with his mistress, Maggie. When he finally checks his phone, he sees numerous messages from his wife, Mary, about the attack, leaving him surprised. He gets a call from her, and he gives a silly excuse about his whereabouts. She knows he didn't come home last night, but he gives another excuse again. Cheating partners and excuses are like 5 and 6. She reminds him about the 20th anniversary of her brother's passing, and he promises to have his assistant, Beth, put it in his calendar before ending the call. The next day, Quan stands in Fan's room, deeply heartbroken with a very big void in his heart as he looks at her things. As soon as Liam arrives for a meeting with the council, Catherine Davies, cabinet minister for the British government, gives him a call. She wants him to swiftly take actions towards the bombing, and he promises to do his best. However, he also wants something, saying,
"We've managed to keep the lid on this for 19 years now, but there are new upstarts in the ranks, pressing for the way things were. I could use something now."
It's the royal pardons he's aiming for, and his cousin is on the list. After much convincing, Kate decides to consider it, but insists she wants something real first, which Liam agrees to. At the council meeting, Liam orders a complete check of all the arms dumps. The Brits have ID'd the explosives, and they are Czech-made Centex from the Irish dumps. The bombers also use their code word, which means they have a contact in the command. Might even be someone presently in the room. He wants all weapons verified, and if anything's missing, it's to be traced back to those who knew the location. Then they deal with it internally. Quan pays a visit to the Counterterrorism Command in London. He's been coming for 5 days in a row now, asking to see Commander Bromley. Bromley finally sees him, assuring him they're doing everything they can to catch the culprits. Quan wants the names of the bombers and is even willing to pay £20,000 for it. When Bromley refuses, he pleads for the name of someone in the IRA, but Bromley still refuses. Instead, he tells him the bombers are dangerous, and his attempt to contact them is likely to end very badly. Quan has been in the country since 1984, and he worked in Saigon after the war. He escaped to Singapore, then immigrated to London. He had 2 daughters before Fan, and they were both murdered during the escape. Then his wife passed while giving birth to Fan. The man truly has no one left. 3 weeks later, the government has still not gotten any lead on the attack, and Quan hasn't stopped doing his own investigations. His attention is caught by an interview airing on the TV. It's Liam, and Quan learns he was a former leader of Sinn Féin and member of the IRA. Afterward, when Liam arrives at his office, Beth tells him about Quan's call. Apparently, he's been waiting on the line for 30 minutes. Left with no choice, Liam takes the call, and Quan wastes no time in getting to his point. However, it's the same story with Liam. He tells Quan he has no connection with the bombers or who might know them. Quan doesn't believe him since he's a powerful man, but Liam says,
"I work for the government and our elected officials. I do not work for terrorists."
He ends the call, leaving Quan devastated. With his mindset, he burns the picture of his wife and 2 daughters, then also a newspaper clipping of how his daughters were murdered. Lam, his friend and worker, comes up after closing the restaurant and is displeased with his behavior. She tries telling him what happened wasn't his fault, but Quan is certain he's failed his family. He hands her an envelope, telling her the restaurant is now hers. Lam isn't taking this. She walks over to his wardrobe and starts bringing out clothes, offering to stay the night, then take him to see someone on Monday. However, just as she turns, she realizes she's been talking to herself. Quan is no longer in the room, and she hears the engine of his minivan as he drives away. He goes home to pack some things, then breaks his old SIM card and smashes his phone. He wraps the new one in foil before leaving the house. Lamb catches up to him just as he enters his minivan, but he just looks at her one last time before driving away. The man won't rest until he finds answers. The next morning, Quan arrives in Belfast, then gets a room to stay in a B&B. Afterward, he pays a visit to Liam's office. When he introduces himself to Beth, she instantly recognizes the name, realizing he's the one who's been phoning. She wants him to leave, but Quan is willing to wait till Liam sees him. However, two of Liam's men, Kavanagh and Murphy, get involved, and they take the bag Quan is holding before searching him. Kavanagh realizes it's just groceries, but also sees a Swiss Army knife. They hijack him to the door, ready to send him away, but Liam comes out of his office, stopping them. In the privacy of the office, Quan repeats his requests, but it's the same story with Liam. He's not been affiliated with the IRA for 30 years, and now he serves the politics of both sides, trying to maintain the peace. Quan is still insistent, but Liam maintains his stance. Well, Quan just says,
You will change your mind.
Before leaving. The first place he goes to is the restroom, where he makes a homemade bomb with the groceries in his bag. Immediately he leaves the building, the bomb explodes, casting Liam and co. in shock. Afterward, the restroom is checked by the bomb squad, and the inspector tells Liam it was just a warning bomb, urging him to call if any culprit comes to mind. After he leaves, Quan's call comes in, and Liam realizes he's the culprit. He becomes really angry and begins threatening him, but Quan just hangs up when he wouldn't say the names. In his room, Quan goes to work on his next bomb. Afterward, Billy, another one of Liam's guys, detects a bomb strategically placed on the car. It's Quan's handiwork as he sees a small piece of paper with the word names written. Later, Liam is beyond mortified, but Kavanagh tells him it was just a warning. It's Quan's way of letting Liam know he can get to him anytime. Kavanagh gets a call and learns Quan has been found in a B&B.
Drag him out of Belfast. Discourage him from returning.
The guys arrive, and the owner directs them to Quan's room. Thankfully, he hears their footsteps on time and blocks the door. Just as the men break in, Quan escapes through the latch and begins breaking the thatched roof to escape. The men catch up with him and a brutal fight begins. Quan falls off, but he manages to hold on and enters another room through the window. However, more fights are waiting. The men corner him on the stairs, but Quan manages to get the upper hand. He finally escapes, making Kavanagh frustrated. At home, Liam is furious they let Quan escape. Mary hears the shouts, and he tells her to pack her bags for the farmhouse since it's no longer safe. Liam's nephew, Sean Morrison, arrives and Liam welcomes him. He wants him to meet up with Bromley since he's in SO-15. Liam wants Bromley to know the bombings aren't theirs and they're working hard to solve the problem, but they need his help. Sean wonders why he's been chosen, and Liam says,
You're a decorated ranger in the Royal Irish Regiment. Bromley will respect you as much as he's capable of respecting any of us.
He urges Sean to be discreet, because there will be hell of a problem if anyone finds out they're talking to the Brits, to go after one of their own. The next morning, Quan tracks Liam all the way to a restaurant where Liam meets up with Maggie. After a pleasurable kiss, she excuses herself for the restroom, and Liam gets a text on his phone. It's a clear picture of his transgression, and he realizes it's from Quan, due to the write-up. Meanwhile, Sean meets up with Bromley at the Royal Naval College. He passes Liam's message saying,
We have a plan. Different codes will be given to each member of command. When the bombers claim credit for the next attack, you'll tell us which word they use. Then we'll know who gave the orders, and then we end it.
However, Bromley has a condition. He wants Liam to tell him directly when he finds the bombers, so they'll take them down. This is non-negotiable. Liam and his men arrive at the farmhouse, and Kavanagh is sure he'll be safe there, but Liam highly doubts that. He's definitely right, because Quan tracks him down in no time. He sets up a camouflage for his van, then covers his footprints. After watching carefully, he sneaks into the building and places another one of his homemade bombs, then sets the timer. He manages to take out 2 guards, tying them up before waiting safely in the woods to see the bomb explode. It's total chaos when it does, and it takes out one side of the house. Message delivered. Liam feels he's deeply underestimated Quan, telling Kavanagh to get more men from Belfast. The next morning, Liam tells Murphy he'll be flying to London with Mary. They'll be going to his daughter Carrie's apartment, then move into a hotel for safety. Mary feels she can handle herself, but this isn't up for debate. Before he can say more, an explosion is heard. It's another one of Quan's fine jobs, and they all go to inspect it. This time, the bomb was planted in the car, and one of their men is affected. Kavanagh knows Quan is in the woods, and he drives in with the other men to find the stubborn man. It's a game of cat and mouse, and some of the men fall right into the traps Quan has set. He presses them for the names, but unfortunately gets shot in the shoulder by Kavanagh. Thankfully, he manages to escape. Later, Liam is furious they've been outsmarted by an old man, and Kavanagh says,
Bring in a tracker, someone who knows the woods, and beat him at his own game.
In London, Mary is already in the hotel as planned, and she gets a visitor. It's no other than Sean. It seems the Hennessys are a family of cheaters. As it turns out, Sean and Mary are having an affair. They almost take things to the next level, but a call from Liam interrupts. When Sean takes the call, Liam tells him about the worsening situation with Quan. From his explanations, Sean realizes Quan is probably trained in the Special Forces, and agrees to help track him. After the call, Sean tells Mary that Liam has a lot going on, but she feels the Accord and Liam's political career are gone if he doesn't find the bombers. Sean is sure Liam will find them this time, revealing the plan about the code word. However, Mary feels the council needs someone stronger like Sean because Liam is afraid to use his power. She admits,
"I've never forgiven him for my brother Patrick."
Apparently, Liam found his murderers. Mary wanted them eliminated before they got to court, but Liam refused because he felt the time for revenge had passed. Now they are in jail, taking classes at the Open University. Mary feels Patrick didn't get justice, and she sobs bitterly in Sean's arms. Meanwhile, Quan still hides in the woods. Sadly looking at a picture of his family, he heats up a knife to cauterize his gunshot wound. However, he slumps from the pain and begins getting flashbacks of his escape from Vietnam to Singapore, where he and his family were attacked by Thai pirates. Despite trying to fight, the men are just too many, and they successfully abduct his daughters alongside other young girls, seemingly to be sexually assaulted and then eliminated. Quan and his wife are thrown overboard as they helplessly watch their children being taken away. That night, Liam receives Quan's file, sent by Catherine, and learns all about the man's past. Hugh McGrath, a head enforcer of the council, pays him a visit, complaining about how Liam has sent people to check his dump. Well, Liam is actually checking everyone's, and they've realized that 10 kilos of Semtex is missing in McGrath's dump. McGrath wants him to take the lead, revealing that the men and the UVF sense Liam's weakness, given the Quan issue. He feels the bombing has given them real momentum and wants Liam to soothe the ranks. Turns out Liam just wanted to hit a few financial targets, in agreement that no one gets hurt. That was the plan, and McGrath gave him his word. Now things have gone out of proportion. McGrath says,
"I don't know who they are, don't even know who's controlling them, and that's the way it has to be, because if something goes wrong, they could trace them straight back to us."
Liam admits he needed the bombing to get their people back together, but McGrath calls him out on the real reason. It's to shore up the election and prop up his weakness in the ranks. McGrath wants the old Liam back, but Liam feels those days are long gone. He orders McGrath to end the disaster, threatening him. Much later, Liam finds his dog unconscious, realizing something is wrong. He opens his drawer to get his gun, but finds just the case. As expected, Quan ambushes him with a gun and directs him to sit. He shows Liam the bomb he's wearing, threatening to touch the button to take everyone down, including himself. He wants names, but Liam truly doesn't know yet. Quan knows the bombers use Semtex since it was used during the war. Quan is desperate for answers and he cocks his gun, but Liam stops him, revealing the plan about the code change. This explanation manages to placate Quan, and he says,
"You have one day,"
before leaving. The next day, the next attack is carried out. This time, a double-decker bus is bombed, and it turns out Maggie is actually working with the bombers. Sean arrives at the farmhouse as planned, ready to start tracking Quan. Afterward, Liam gets a call from Bromley. The bombers called like the first time, but they didn't give a code word. Liam is confused by this, but Bromley reveals that the call was from a man with an Irish accent. He declared there'd be no more cooperation with the Brits and no more code words. It seems Liam has been outwitted. There's a mole in his crew. Liam points out the fact it's only he and Sean who knew about the plan, and tells Bromley to send a private number which he can use to reach him if he gets an answer. Well, he has no idea Mary also knows. Bromley warns him to hurry, threatening to send down war. Later, Catherine gets on a call with Liam, furious about the second bombing. She reveals the PM will consider the pardons, but only if you give up the bombers immediately. There are already ongoing plans to put paratroops back on the streets of Belfast in 48 hours, and this is most likely to start a war. Guess it's TikTok for Liam. Just then, Murphy comes in and gives his report on the surveillance he's been keeping on Mary. Liam learns of Sean's visit and how Mary contacted McGrath with the hotel phone at the lobby. Seems like his wife is actually the mole. Meanwhile, Patrick and co. have set up a bomb in a laptop. There's a security conference in Rome the next day, and all the top MPs and security people are flying there on 3 lunchtime flights. So the plan is simple, put it in their aircraft. At the command center, Bromley has been able to identify Patrick as one of the bombers, and he debriefs the Prime Minister. McGrath has also been ID'd, including Maggie. Afterward, Liam gets a call from Bromley, who tells him about McGrath. Well, this doesn't surprise Liam, given the information he's gotten earlier. Bromley also tells him about Patrick, but Liam denies knowing him. He also denies knowing McGrath's location, but Bromley surprises him when he says,
"His phone's GPS puts him 52 meters south of you. I'm watching him coming up your drive."
Turns out there's a Chinook airborne with a 12-man team, and they'll land in Liam's farm in 30 minutes to take McGrath into custody. By doing so, Liam's career will also end, since he's close with McGrath. However, Bromley says,
Question McGraw your way and get what I need. Names and locations of everyone. You can't save him, but maybe you can save yourself.
Truly, McGrath arrives with his men, and Liam tells Kavanaugh to send the men to help Sean out in the woods. Inside the house, he attacks the unsuspecting McGrath, aiming his gun at his head. He angrily calls him out on the bombing, telling him to write the names and locations of the bombers. McGrath refuses, earning him a wicked shot on his foot. McGrath doesn't need to be told twice, and Liam gets shocked when he sees Maggie's name on the list. McGrath reveals her real name is Sarah McKay, and she works for him. This earns him another shot, and McGrath admits she was an insurance policy in case Liam loses his nerve. That way, if the bombers are taken, Maggie will lead them back to Liam. As his final question, Liam asks about Mary. When McGrath pretends to be clueless, he whacks his head, making him confess. Turns out she's always hated him because of her brother, and went to McGrath for help in return for helping him back. That said, Liam shoots McGrath in the head, sending him to his ancestors. Afterward, he calls Bromley, revealing he has the names. Meanwhile, Maggie has an affair with Ian. It's not just a plain affair, and she actually has an ulterior motive. Ian is the unknowing mule that would be carrying the bomb on the flight. When he goes to wash up, she gets to work, quickly inputting the battery containing the bomb into his laptop and setting it up. In the woods, Sean gets a call from Liam, who tells him about McGrath. He's sending the bombers' names and locations to Sean because he may need it, and reveals it's Patrick responsible for Quan's daughter. Before ending the call, he says,
Either way, Sean, you end this. Now.
Soon after, Quan comes out of hiding and attacks Sean, leading to a brutal fight between the two. Quan manages to get the upper hand, but doesn't end Sean. Later that night, Sean realizes he wants the names and tells him the passcode to his phone, where the names and locations have been sent. When Quan learns Sean was in the Special Forces and most of his family have passed away, he frees him. Afterward, Sean arrives back at the house and tells Liam about his situation with Quan. However, Liam isn't interested in that. Instead, he reveals how Sean was caught in Mary's room. Sean begins apologizing, but Liam isn't interested. He only wants to know what he discussed with Mary. He learns about how she manipulated Sean into revealing the code change, and Liam realizes that's what she told McGrath, which he then relayed to the bombers. Picking his gun, Liam orders Sean to wait for another final job. When that's done, he'll go back to New York and never return. The next morning, Bromsley has his team secretly surrounding the bombers' hideout, but Quan manages to slip through undetected. Meanwhile, at the airport, Ian's belongings are scanned, and as predicted, the bomb isn't detected in the laptop. The men get on the move, but they halt when they hear the doorbell at the bomber's flat. It's Quan and the landlady, and he's disguised himself as a plumber to fix a gas leak in the building. Since he's checking all units, the guys have no choice but to let him in. He manages to identify Patrick through the burn on his hand. The men order him to put his bag on the table so they can search it, and he agrees. Everything is poured out, and just when a machine gun is discovered, Quan suddenly attacks. He takes the gun and begins shooting while the men take cover. The operatives outside also halt, waiting for further instructions. After an intense gunfight, Quan manages to take out the men one by one, and Maggie is also hit in the shoulder. The last man standing is Patrick, and the two engage in a brutal fight. Quan gets the upper hand and chokes him with all his might, ending him. The operatives raid the apartment, but Quan escapes before they can see him. They realize Maggie is the only one left alive, and they begin questioning her. She refuses to give anything up, making the men torture her without remorse. When they bring in a bolt for electric torture, she finally reveals the truth. Bromsley is told about the flight and the bomb on Ian's laptop set to go off at 3 p.m. At the airport, Ian works on his laptop, and he learns the flight has been delayed. Just then, police officers rush in, looking for him, but he doesn't hear anything they say because of the headset he has on. When he finally removes it and realizes they're calling out for him, he identifies himself. With no time to explain, the officer takes his laptop and begins running as fast as he can, ordering the frightened crowd to clear the way. Just as he throws the laptop, it explodes. Thankfully, no one is hurt, as the jet bridge is empty. Bromsley receives information that it was a Chinaman who took down the guys, and he tells his man that the bomb has been neutralized. When he says,
"No loose ends,"
Maggie is ended with some shots. Afterward, Bromsley puts an AP out for Quan, but the man is already leaving on a bus. Later, Liam gets a call from Catherine, who tells him about the turn of events. She mentions his involvement with Maggie and how she's been traced back to him. However, she's spoken to the PM, and he's agreed to keep Liam in office for now. She's also going to issue the pardons he wants, and she says,
"But make no mistake, Deputy First Minister, you are ours now. I say jump, you say where."
He's been put on the next flight to London, and he'll brief SO15 on everything he knows. There's really no way out of this one for Liam. Later, Mary hears the doorbell ring and goes to check. No one could have prepared her for what she sees, as Sean aims his gun at her, delivering a silenced shot to her head, ending her instantly. When Liam arrives home, he is ambushed by Quan, who shows him the picture of him and Maggie kissing. He feels Liam knew of her involvement and planned everything, but Liam just says,
For whatever it's worth, I never intended to hurt your daughter, or any of those people.
Well, Quan isn't listening, and he makes Liam upload the picture on the internet. Now the whole world will know Liam is a terrorist, and Quan bids him goodbye before leaving. In London, Quan returns to his restaurant, and Lamb is relieved to see him. Bromsley also gets an alert on this, but he decides not to take any further action and just tells his man to observe and report back. Lamb walks up to Quan, holds his face dearly, and gives him a passionate kiss. She then embraces him in relief, and Quan hugs her too as he puts the past behind him. And that, my friends, is how it ended. If you've made it to the end, hit the like button, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next recap.